insurance industry has a pivotal and growing role in the ongoing climate discussion and in mobilizing urgent climate action. It has a big role to play in the transition towards a low-carbon economy, being an investor and asset owner at the same time. Through its products and services, the Philippine life insurance industry can help Filipino households cope with and adapt to climate change. Financial resilience can be communicated through insurance education and be achieved by way of wider insurance adoption, especially among the country's unserved and underserved communities, to help mitigate the effects of climate change on people's health and finances.
The Insurance Commission is in the process of developing environmental, social, and governance, or ESG, related guidelines. It is also in active discussion with other regulatory counterparts such as the SEC and BSP by being a member of the Technical Working Group on Financial Sustainability Forum. The said TWG is tasked to handle the review and harmonization of regulations on corporate governance, risk management, disclosures, and prudential reporting pertaining to sustainable finance, as well as design of ladderized capacity building activities for regulators and regulated entities. Further, this serves as one of the working clusters of the Green Force that will operationalize the policy pillar of the Philippine Sustainable Finance Roadmap and the guiding principles. Also, it can be recalled that the Insurance Commission released a circular letter encouraging the insurance industry to invest in infrastructure projects that promotes climate change mitigation and adaptation and related facilities. This is all under Circular Letter number 2019-19 on the amended guidelines on investments in infrastructure projects under the Philippine Development Plan. Lastly, the minimum catastrophe rates for earthquakes, typhoon, flood risk covers were reviewed to ensure risk-appropriate, technically sufficient, and sustainable rates. Recently, the Insurance Commission issued Circular Letter 2022-34, dated July 14, 2022, on the adoption of the revised schedule of minimum catastrophe rates. Moreover, there is an ongoing establishment of the Philippine Catastrophe Insurance Facility, which aims to ensure the country's catastrophe resilience. The PCIF project is a collaboration of the Non-Life Industry Association, LIRA, the Sole Insurance Corporation of the Philippines, NATRI, and the Insurance Commission. Climate change has a big impact on the health of the people, and as a consequence, impacts also the finances of people affected by health challenges. The life insurance industry has always been conducting research on the health challenges of people and offering products and services for people to get sufficient health protection which match the characteristics, needs, and risk profile of Filipinos. Some of the life insurance companies are also shifting to digital format for policy contracts and forms. Aside from offering life insurance products, life insurance companies have also implemented measures in their daily conduct of operations and business strategies and activities that could help in countering the effects of climate change. Some of these are less dependencies on paper and plastic products, hybrid work arrangement leading to less of pollutant products, investing more on companies involved in sustainable renewable energy, and others.
Prudential approaches climate change by considering the impact of climate change on our investment portfolio. This is the biggest source of emissions that we are responsible for. This is the book of assets that we invest on behalf of our policyholders to meet our liabilities to them. We can support the fight against climate change by seeking to reduce the emissions of that portfolio over time. We call this decarbonising the portfolio. As we seek to do this, though, we want to do it in a way that ensures a just and inclusive transition. That is one that respects the sustainable economic development of the markets in which we operate in. Prudential's ESG agenda is centred around our purpose of helping people to get the most out of life. Prudential's ESG framework features what we call 3 key pillars and 3 enablers. The 3 pillars are, firstly, helping to make health and financial security accessible. Secondly, helping to mitigate the impacts of climate change. And thirdly, building social capital through our people and digital responsibility. We support the delivery of all of those through 3 enablers: responsible investment, good governance and responsible business practices, and community engagement and investment. Focusing on how we can make health and financial security accessible, we do that through what we consider digital innovation, giving people the tools to manage their own health in the palm of their hand, and through inclusive offerings, where we seek to develop product features which ensure our products are attractive to populations who may previously have been underserved by financial services. Prudential has set a number of targets in 2021 around our climate change ambitions, and we can measure the success of our agenda by looking at how we're doing against those targets. We aim to be net zero on our investment portfolio by 2050, and we've set a target to reduce emissions by 25% by 2025 to help us get on that track. We also set a coal policy where we will divest from companies who obtain more than 30% of their revenue from coal. And we also have set a target to engage with companies who are responsible for 65% of the absolute emissions of our portfolio. By measuring how we're doing against those targets, we can also track our success. We can also look at external ESG ratings. There are a number of organizations that rate corporates such as us on their ESG abilities. And while the methodologies for those may vary, we would hope to progressively improve those ratings over time and then maintain them at an appropriate level. Some early successes include the progress we've made so far towards our external climate commitments. In May 2021, we set a commitment to divest from companies that obtain more than 30% of their revenue from coal. We completed the divestment of coal equity stocks by the end of 2021, and we're on track to complete the divestment of coal bonds by the end of 2022. We're also making good progress towards our target of a 25% reduction by 2025.
So climate change brings a number of threats to life insurance companies. In our assets that we manage on behalf of our policyholders, the operations that we use to support our policyholders and staff, but then also the policyholders' life and longevity itself. We are implementing our ESG strategy to maintain our business robustness for climate change, and we're also to keep supporting our customer needs. As insurers, we manage risk and we accept those risks, and we have risk management frameworks that we use to manage those risks in an appropriate manner. And we've been incorporating climate change into the risks that we manage in our risk management framework. And one of the key tools that we use is scenario testing to make sure that our investments, our operations, and the way we look after our policyholders remain robust as we go down these unknown pathways in the future. Climate stress testing is a tool that we use because we don't know what will happen in the next 30 years, the 50 years, the 100 years over which climate change will impact us. So what we do is we look at plausible paths that the planet can follow, that society can follow, and then we look at how the company is impacted and society is impacted under those pathways. And we make sure that regardless of which pathway becomes reality in the end, that we can keep servicing our customers, that we can still look after their investments on behalf of them as we need to, and that our operations are ready for all of those. And that is regardless of which pathway becomes reality in the end. We'll be ready for it.
Last year, we commissioned the first ever study on the effects of climate change on the health of Filipinos. With the release of the study, we started the discourse on the impact of climate change on health and financial security. We organized Healthscape, our multi-stakeholder discussion platform, to discuss pressing health matters, including health impact of climate change. We have released several inclusive bite-sized products in Pulse and in other digital platforms or ecosystems to our climate-smart products that provide protection against climate-sensitive diseases such as dengue, malaria, typhoid, and measles.
I hope that we as Filipinos, the Philippine government, and all stakeholders will really feel a sense of urgency around the climate emergency, because it's not only going to affect the future children of the Philippines, it's already affecting us all as we speak. And with a sense of urgency, there is a need to think out of the box, be holistic and comprehensive in our approach to problem solving. So I think that is my message in order to really accelerate climate action in our country to protect and save lives.
Climate change is now happening, and its effects on properties, health, and finances are now being felt by every Filipino. Helping Filipinos and their communities mitigate and adapt to climate change is now part of the life insurance industry's accountability and social responsibilities. It is now rising to the challenge to act boldly and quickly to address the growing threats of climate change on health and financial security.